Imagine signing what you believe is a legally binding contract, only to discover it's completely unenforceable. This happens more often than you might think, especially when contracts lack a critical element called consideration. Understanding this concept could save you from serious legal headaches. A legally valid contract requires several essential elements. There must be an offer made by one party and accepted by another. Something of value must be exchanged. The subject matter must be legal. Both parties must freely agree to the terms, have the mental capacity to fulfill them, and be of legal age. While some contracts must be in writing, such as real estate transactions or agreements lasting longer than a year, the requirement for consideration applies to all contracts. So what exactly is consideration? In contract law, consideration answers the question, how do you benefit from entering this contract? It's something of value that each party provides to the other. When you buy a jacket, the store gives you the garment as consideration, and you provide payment as consideration in return. Consideration typically involves promising to do something you're not legally required to do, or promising not to do something you have the right to do. This requirement distinguishes contracts from gifts or one-sided promises. If your friend mows your lawn without asking for anything in return, this isn't a contract because you haven't promised any consideration. If they promise to mow your lawn but don't follow through, you can't sue for damages since no consideration was exchanged. A contract without consideration is void because it lacks enforceability. Courts typically declare contracts void for lack of consideration in several situations, when the offered consideration is something a party is already legally obligated to do, when it's merely a gift with nothing expected in return, when the consideration refers to something done in the past, or when the promise is illusory and impossible to fulfill. The doctrine of privity in common law further explains why consideration matters. This principle states that only parties to a contract can enforce it. A third party who hasn't provided consideration generally cannot sue to enforce the contract, even if it was made for their benefit. Case law illustrates these principles. In Thomas v. Thomas, from 1842, a nominal rent was deemed sufficient consideration. Conversely, in White v. Bluet, from 1853, a son's promise not to complain to his father was found to have no legal value as consideration. Courts evaluate whether something of legal value has been exchanged, not whether the exchange is fair. Even if a deal seems unfair in hindsight, courts typically won't intervene unless the discrepancy is so great that it constitutes bad faith. Despite the general rule, several exceptions exist where contracts without consideration may be valid. Agreements made out of natural love and affection between close relatives can be enforceable if properly documented. Promises to compensate someone for past voluntary services may be valid. A written promise to pay a debt that's no longer legally enforceable due to the statute of limitations can be upheld. Agency relationships, completed gifts, charitable subscriptions, and contracts under seal may also be exceptions in certain jurisdictions. Understanding consideration is fundamental to contract law. Without it, agreements lack the mutual obligation that makes them legally binding. While exceptions exist, they're specific and limited. Whether you're drafting a business agreement or entering a personal contract, ensuring proper consideration is exchanged will help guarantee your contract stands up in court.